The film opens with a haunting view of Eric, played by Bill Skarsgård, struggling with his addiction and past trauma while trapped in a rehabilitation center. His pale, gaunt appearance reflects his inner turmoil, and the setting is bleak and dreary. Flashbacks hint at his troubled childhood, filled with neglect, abuse, and loss. He is haunted by vivid nightmares that torment him every night, visions of a crow and a foreboding, shadowy figure. These early scenes emphasize Eric's broken psyche, setting up his later transformation. Parallel to this, the movie introduces Shelly, played by FKA Twigs, a gifted musician with her own painful history of addiction and trauma. Shelly is trying to escape her troubled past and rebuild her life, but her hope for a fresh start is shattered when her friend Zadie, played by Isabella Way, sends her a video that exposes a sinister plot. The video implicates Vincent Roeg, played by Danny Houston, a charismatic but ruthless crime lord who hides behind the facade of a powerful music mogul. Roeg is much more than a simple crime boss. He is revealed to have made a centuries-old pact with the devil, exchanging innocent souls for eternal life. Shelly, realizing the danger she's in, knows that keeping the video will almost certainly result in her death. Rogue's henchmen begin hunting her down immediately, forcing her into a tense game of cat and mouse across the city. Shelly tries to disappear, but her escape is short-lived when she is arrested for drug possession. This unexpected arrest buys her time, but her situation has grown even more perilous. As Shelly sits in jail, Zadie is captured by Rogue's men. In a chilling and disturbing scene, Roeg interrogates Zadie personally. He reveals the full extent of his demonic power, recounting how he made a pact with the devil centuries ago, and how he continues to thrive by sending innocent souls to hell. Rogue's menacing charm and twisted logic are unnerving, and Zadie, terrified and helpless, is forced into a horrific choice. Roeg whispers ancient incantations in her ear, compelling her to kill herself. Zadie's suicide is a grim reminder of Rogue's control over life and death, and it deepens the tension surrounding Shelly's fate. Meanwhile, Shelly is transferred to the rehabilitation center where Eric resides. At first, their interactions are brief, passing glances in the hallway or shared moments during group therapy sessions. Both are clearly haunted individuals, burdened by their painful pasts and deep emotional scars. Over time, however, a bond begins to form between them. Shelly, still reeling from the danger she faces, finds comfort in Eric's quiet, brooding presence, while Eric is drawn to Shelly's inner strength despite the weight of her own trauma. Their relationship grows naturally, with small gestures of kindness evolving into a deep emotional connection. Eric, despite his isolation and self-doubt, begins to feel a sense of purpose in Shelly's company, and Shelly sees Eric as someone who understands her pain. They fall in love, offering each other hope and solace in a world that seems bent on destroying them. Their fragile peace is shattered when Marion, played by Laura Byrne, Rogue's cunning and deadly right-hand woman, tracks down Shelly at the rehabilitation center. Marion's arrival sends Shelly into a panic, and she convinces Eric that they must flee immediately. The urgency of their escape is palpable, and the film builds tension as they hurriedly leave the facility, knowing that Rogue's forces are closing in on them. They seek refuge in an abandoned house, a safe haven that belongs to one of Shelly's friends. Here, the film allows a brief respite, showing tender moments between Eric and Shelly as they try to reclaim a semblance of normalcy in their lives. These scenes depict their deepening love, and for a fleeting time, they imagine a life free from the demons of their past. But this moment of peace is short-lived. Rogue's men, relentless in their pursuit, eventually track them down. The attack is brutal and heartbreaking, as Eric and Shelly, outnumbered and overpowered, are viciously murdered in their sanctuary. The violence of their deaths is shocking, and the film contrasts these final moments with flashbacks of their tender love, making their deaths all the more tragic. After his death, Eric awakens in a desolate, eerie rail yard. The scene is surreal, filled with haunting visuals of twisted tracks and shadowy figures. In this purgatory-like realm, Eric meets Kronos, played by Sami Buajila, a mysterious spirit guide who reveals that Eric's death is not the end. Kronos explains that Eric has been chosen to return to the land of the living to exact vengeance on those responsible for his and Shelly's deaths. In exchange for fulfilling this mission, Eric will have the chance to reunite with Shelly in the afterlife. Eric is granted supernatural powers, including rapid healing and enhanced strength, making him an unstoppable force. His transformation into the Crow is dark and powerful, marked by his now pale complexion, long black hair, and the crow symbol tattooed on his body. The crow, both a symbol of death and a guide for lost souls, becomes Eric's companion as he embarks on his mission of vengeance. Determined to destroy Roeg and his henchmen, Eric leaves the afterlife, now a vengeful spirit driven by both love and rage. Eric's first stop in his quest is Sophia, played by Gisette Simon, Shelly's estranged mother. He confronts her, demanding answers about her involvement in the events leading to Shelly's death. Sophia, racked with guilt, confesses that she had made a deal with Roeg in exchange for wealth and status, unwittingly sealing Shelly's fate. This revelation enrages Eric, adding a new layer of emotional complexity to his quest for vengeance. After Eric leaves, Roeg visits Sophia to interrogate her about Eric's return. When she fails to provide satisfactory answers, Roeg forces her to jump off the roof to her death. This scene is chilling, further showcasing Roeg's complete control over life and death, and his ruthless desire to maintain his immortality at all costs. Fueled by both anger and grief, Eric begins hunting down Roeg's men. The revenge sequences are intense and brutal, with Eric using his newfound powers to exact violent justice on the henchmen who played a part in his and Shelly's murders. Each kill is a moment of catharsis for Eric, but his ultimate target remains Roeg. During his search, Eric uncovers Shelly's cell phone, which contains the incriminating video Zadie had sent her before her death. The video reveals a horrifying truth. Roeg had coerced Shelly into killing an innocent woman as part of his twisted ritual. This revelation shatters Eric's perception of Shelly and causes him to question the purity of their love. Doubt creeps into his mind, and as his faith in Shelly falters, so too do his powers. Without his healing abilities, Eric is vulnerable and ultimately falls into another ambush by Roeg's men, leading to his second death. In the afterlife once again, Eric confronts Kronos, pleading for another chance to fulfill his mission. In a desperate bargain, Eric agrees to take Shelly's place in Hell in exchange for one final opportunity to kill Roeg. Roeg, now fully aware of Eric's supernatural abilities, devises a plan to steal them for himself. He orders Marion to lure Eric into a trap, intending to exploit Eric's vulnerability. Eric, however, is undeterred. He tracks Marion to an opulent opera house, where a climactic battle unfolds. The opera house, with its grand architecture and gothic atmosphere, serves as the perfect setting for Eric's final rampage. The fight scenes are intense and visceral, with Eric dispatching Roeg's men with brutal efficiency. Marion, knowing her time is up, reveals Roeg's location before Eric delivers a final, fatal blow, decapitating her. The confrontation between Eric and Roeg is the film's high point. A vicious, supernatural duel in which Roeg attempts to steal Eric's powers. In a dramatic twist, Eric transports Roeg to the afterlife, stripping him of his demonic protections. In the purgatorial landscape where Roeg's immortality holds no power, Eric finally overpowers him and delivers the killing blow, freeing Shelly's soul and ending Roeg's reign of terror. With Roeg dead, Eric is briefly reunited with Shelly in the afterlife. Their reunion is tender and emotional, a moment of peace after all the violence. However, their happiness is short-lived, as Kronos, now disguised as a medic, informs Shelly that Eric sacrificed his life to save her. Shelly wakes up on the night of their deaths, realizing the depth of Eric's love and the ultimate sacrifice he made for her. Eric accepts his fate, now resigned to his place in the afterlife. As he fades away, he is content in the knowledge that one day, he and Shelly will be reunited in the afterlife. The film ends on a somber but hopeful note, with the crow flying into the night, symbolizing the end of Eric's journey and the enduring nature of love.